So this is a big day for India. It is a day of celebration. It's also a day of reflection, a day to celebrate the remarkable and the outstanding journey that we've made so far. And this is also a day for us to, in fact, both look back and also look into the future for what lies ahead. And when the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in fact, stepped on the ramparts of the Red Fort to deliver his address to the nation, this is what he did today. He, in fact, set the tone for India's future. And he's also quite clearly set out the blueprint and his vision for India for the next 25 years to come. That is a vision that the Indian Prime Minister has now laid out. His address to the nation on Independence Day stood out both for its intent and also in its authenticity. You see, the Independence Day is an occasion which most leaders usually use to recount their successes. They announce new schemes. They even try and score political points in their Independence Day address. The Indian Prime Minister today did all of this, but at the same time, he also laid out a roadmap, a vision for India, which has been now independent for 76 years old. And he clearly laid out the direction that India will choose for itself. The goals that India has now set for itself and how India intends to achieve them and how Narendra Modi wants to direct India to proceed from here to achieve these goals. Now, these are some of the big takeaways from the Prime Minister's speech early today. In the next few minutes, we'll be deconstructing the message behind each of his statements. And also show you as to how Indians, both within the country and also abroad, celebrated this momentous occasion. To start with, this was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 10th speech from the Red Fort. It wasn't his longest. That was in 2016 when he had spoken for 94 minutes. Today, his speech lasted for a solid 90 minutes. He started speaking at 7:34 a.m. and concluded his speech at 9:03 a.m. So what did the Indian Prime Minister talk about? Let's get you the key highlights. Now, the Prime Minister spoke about the violence in Manipur, a North Indian state which has been convulsed by horrific ethnic violence. He's given assurances that both the state and the central government are working in tandem to ensure that peace prevails in Manipur. He said that all of India stands with the people of Manipur. Listen in to what he had to say.
नॉर्थ ईस्ट में, विशेषकर मणिपुर में और हिंदुस्तान के भी अन्य कुछ भागों में, लेकिन विशेषकर मणिपुर में जो हिंसा का दौर चला, कई लोगों को अपना जीवन खोना पड़ा, मां बेटियों के सम्मान के साथ खिलवाड़ हुआ, लेकिन कुछ दिनों से लगातार शांति की खबरें आ रही हैं। देश मणिपुर के लोगों के साथ है।
Now, the Indian Prime Minister also shared his thoughts on how India will progress from here on. He spoke at length about the ways through which India can in fact realize its dreams. He said that the power of 3Ds will make India simply unstoppable. So what are these 3Ds? This is what the Indian Prime Minister reiterated. He said that 3Ds, in fact, are demography, democracy and diversity. This is what he stressed on, diversity. He called these three a trinity that will fulfill every dream of every Indian.
आज हमारे पास डेमोग्राफी है, आज हमारे पास डेमोक्रेसी है, आज हमारे पास डाइवर्सिटी है। डेमोग्राफी, डेमोक्रेसी और डाइवर्सिटी की ये त्रिवेणी भारत के हर सपने को साकार करने का सामर्थ्य है। आज पूरे विश्व में
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke extensively about Amrit Kal. Now, this is a term that is derived from Vedic astrology. Amrit Kal refers to a crucial period when the gates of greatness are open. This is regarded as the most fortunate time to regain and to begin any new work. The Prime Minister said that every Indian is in fact fortunate that he is living in the period of Amrit Kal of independence. He also said that the decisions that are taken now in this period will pave the way for the next 1,000 years. Listen in.
मैं 1000 साल पहले की बात इसलिए कह रहा हूं, मैं देख रहा हूं फिर एक बार देश के सामने एक मौका आया। इस ऐसे कालखंड में हम जी रहे हैं, ऐसे कालखंड में हमने प्रवेश किया है और ये हमारा सौभाग्य है कि भारत के ऐसे अमृत काल में, ये अमृत काल का पहला वर्ष है। या तो हम जवानी में जी रहे हैं या हम मां भारती की गोद में जन्म ले चुके हैं।
And it wasn't just long-term goals. The Indian Prime Minister also spoke about certain immediate short-term goals as well. He said that by 2047, when India will celebrate 100 years of its independence, it would have become a developed nation. He said that this is only possible if India realizes all of its capacities and its capabilities, all of its resources that are available, and above all, if it utilizes the power of the youth. He added that the next 5 years are going to be a golden opportunity for realizing this tremendous dream.
जब देश आजादी के 100 साल मनाएगा, उस समय दुनिया में भारत का तिरंगा झंडा, विकसित भारत का तिरंगा झंडा होना चाहिए। रत्ती भर भी हमें रुकना नहीं है, पीछे नहीं हटना है। और इसके लिए शुचिता, पारदर्शिता और निष्पक्षता, ये पहली मजबूती की जरूरत है।
The Prime Minister also spoke about women's empowerment. He paid his tribute to the working women of India from villages to the cities, the women who are in fact taking an active part in India's growth story. They are, he said, India's own story. His vision is to have more than 2 crore women in Indian villages who earn in lakhs. Listen in to the vision that the Indian Prime Minister has for the women of India.
Women self-help group हो, मेरी 2 करोड़ लखपति दीदी का लक्ष्य लेकर के आज विमेन सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप पे हम काम कर रहे हैं। हम हमारी नारी शक्ति के सामर्थ्य को बढ़ावा देते हुए विमेन लेड डेवलपमेंट के, और जब G20 में मैंने विमेन लेड डेवलपमेंट के विषय को आगे बढ़ाया है, तो पूरा G20 समूह इसके महत्व को स्वीकार कर रहा है और उसके महत्व को स्वीकार कर करके वो उसको बहुत बल दे रहे हैं।
For 2 long centuries, India had been colonized by the British. And the struggle to gain independence was a long and a difficult one, where thousands of Indians had laid down their lives. They had made their ultimate sacrifice. So every single year, on this momentous occasion, it is time for us to remember the cost that the people of India had to pay to win this freedom. And every single year, this day is celebrated with tremendous fervor across the length and breadth of the nation. So let's take a look at some of the most outstanding celebrations for Independence Day from across India. And let's start from the state of Tamil Nadu, where the Indian Coast Guard members displayed their patriotic fervor by holding and saluting the national flag underwater. The event, in fact, took place near Rameshwaram. A video capturing this momentous act has gone viral online. The Indian tricolour was also hoisted on board the Indian naval warship INS Sahyadri and INS Kolkata at Sydney. The ships, remember, are in Australia to participate in the Malabar 2023 exercises that will continue until the 21st of August. In Shanghai, India's Consul General N. Nandakumar hoisted the tricolour, the Consulate General of India, in the eastern Chinese metropolis. He also read out President Draupadi Murmu's address to the nation. And celebrations also took place in Jammu and Kashmir at the LOC. The soldiers from the BSF celebrated India's 77th Independence Day in some pretty high spirits. The Bakshi Stadium in Jammu and Kashmir's Srinagar saw a huge rush for the Independence Day celebrations today. This stadium hosted the Independence Day function after a gap of nearly about 5 years, following its closure in 2018 for renovations. And our correspondent Idris Lone, in fact, was present there, and he sent us this report.
Celebrations are on the 77th anniversary of India's independence. We are at Bakshi Stadium in Srinagar right now, where you can see the parade is going on. The Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir hoisted the Indian national flag a while ago. For the first time, we are seeing in the last many decades these number of people attending the Independence Day function. The stadium is filled with people from across the Kashmir Valley. There are people from various districts who have come here to be a part of the Independence Day function. There's a 3-tier security system in place all across the Bakshi Stadium, where the main function is, where the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir hoisted the national flag. And now the celebrations on, the parade on, and thousands of people for the first time in decades attending the function of Independence Day. With video journalist Feroz, Idris Lone for WION World is One.
Now here's the thing, no matter what your political leanings are or your levels of cynicism is, you simply cannot be unmoved by the sentiment that pervades the atmosphere across the length and breadth of India on this day. This is a day that unites every single Indian. This is a day that reminds us that united we stand and stand stronger. And that's the thing about Independence Day. It brings back all the stories of the freedom struggle. It forces us to think as to how each one of us can in fact contribute as a citizen, and whether we are doing justice to the legacy of those who died fighting for India's independence, which we now enjoy. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.